What's up, Odie?
Yeah, I'm good.
Uh, uh, yeah. I'm still working on the courier payroll, Stripe
Okay.
integration, Figmajig.
Mm.
I always make progress, but I'm never done. So,
Well, yeah, it's normal. It happens. Um, it's similar to what happened to me as well. Um, I don't know if you saw my streams on Twitch.
mm-mm. I don't think I'm subscribed to you. Is, do you
Oh,
have
okay.
Do you have the same name on Twitch?
Yeah. Same name. So
What is it,
I
Odie
think
Trice?
Audi tries, yeah. So last week, Saturday, Sunday, I streamed quite a bit on um the what do they call it? The admin portal, and at that point, I just made a decision that there's no need using the single page application, Fable, JavaScript, Pygmamagic. So I decided to just switch over to just using static HTML and Razor views. So yeah, I streamed myself, just making all those changes, and let's just say I'm happier for it because there's a lot less moving parts. My velocity is a lot faster, etc. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So I intend to stream even tomorrow as well. So as I work on it, I'm just streaming. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm building it. Stuff like that.
Do
So
you
have you seen
narrate
the
or
Twitch page?
do
Yeah.
you just listen to background music and just
I have to narrate so that it's not totally boring for people who are watching.
Oh, I mean, I stream and I don't care about people that are watching. I just play background music and I just do my like because it's not for them. It's
Mm,
me just happening to stream, and if people ask questions about why I'm doing something a certain type of way, or they know a better way of me to accomplish a task, then they have an opportunity to use it as a platform. But I don't care about them. I'm programming and I'm streaming as I program. Like, why not?
mm.
So
Yeah, I get that, but let's just say I'm kind of uh, what's the word? I am inspired by other streamers, especially like chess streamers. You see chess streamers like Hikaru Nakamura, where he is like because he's so good at what he does, right? He can be chatting, he can be streaming, acknowledging people while he's destroying his opponents, right? In chess. So for me, and that's the thing with expertise, right? Once you have expertise in something, you get into that flow state, you know what it feels like. So if you see someone else in flow state, you can recognize it. So I think for me it's kind of like that. I'm inspired to do something similar in the sense that I'm able to because I know that I'm good in writing code, right? So I want to be doing something similar where I'm writing code, saying exactly what's going on in my mind as I'm typing it, and people are asking questions and I'm answering them, that kind of a thing. Um, yeah.
yeah, I don't really care about people that much. Like when I first started doing it, I would narrate, but now it's like the amount of time that I spend on one thing can be like
Mm,
2 weeks, and I get tired of repeating myself every single time I work on it because I'll stream like 3 times a day
mm,
while I'm just grinding away at a specific component that I want to get done that takes me like 2 weeks. So
mm.
so I mean that's my
No,
scenario.
no, I get that. I think for me though, the reason I can do that is because in my head, in my mind's eye, I can already see the entire journey all the way to the destination, right? It's just to actually type it and implement it. Um, yeah, I imagine if I needed to do something that was totally novel, I've never done before. Like if I was to write some kind of sorting algorithm or some kind of synchronization algorithm that I've never done before, I wouldn't stream that. I will just do it offline, and maybe if I come on stream, just explain, okay, this is what I did, this is how it works, and all that. Because yeah, you're right. That back and forth is just going to be that doing something and having to redo it over and over again will just be time consuming and confusing. So, why are you looking for a theme?
So I'm curious what your feedback is.
Okay.
That whole thing that you're working on,
Mm,
which is the tenant portal.
yeah.
For some reason, I keep portal and porno sounds very similar to me. Tenant porno.
Yeah.
Anyway, the thought process is because I feel like that's going to take a while to actually release a beta version of. Like I assume with maybe 6 hours average a week of working on it, I assume that it's probably going to take like 3 to 4 months to crank out a beta version. And so that's my assumption, and you could dispute it if you like. So the thought process is, well, let's sell it before it even comes out. Let them put in their payment methods and all their other information that may be required based on the product or the tier of product that they demonstrate that they want to pay for. And then once they hit that checkout button, we collect their first name, their contact information. We throw away their payment method details. We don't want that, nor do we care about it right now. And then we just reach out to them via email or maybe just a personal phone call and say, we are working on the product. The product's not ready yet, but we're going to, I don't know, ask them whatever questions if we feel the need to ask them more questions in regards to their motivation. But basically demonstrate that we can sell it, especially if it takes 3 to 4 months estimating to actually build it. And then what that will address, I think, is one, right? If we see consistency or more than the same people demonstrate that they were willing to pay for it by actually whipping out their bank card and clicking cash out or whatever checkout, then it may be ammunition for future investors if that's required. That's the thought process.
That makes sense. However, I feel like it would be, we could do it, but I feel like we would spend a lot of energy building that whole thing that you just talked about, right? That's time and effort that's not going into the portal itself. What I would suggest we do instead is we come up with the simplest MVP, right? What's that simplest MVP going to look like? It's just you sign up, you see, you sign up, create your business account as a vendor or whatever, and then you just see what's the most basic thing, maybe a list of all the couriers, right, that are available, and that's it. Or the list of orders that have been placed. You just have only that, and then we sell that, and then when we get returns on that, we can now decide to flesh it out more and add more functionality and stuff like that. But I just feel like, because the reason I'm saying this is that I've seen it happen before. Currently where I work, which is Edelweiss Connect, we did exactly that. We built the product, we weren't selling it. CEO was like, okay, let's create a web platform, a website, if you will, that just demonstrates this is what this is about. If you are interested, click here, sign up with your credit card details. We did that. And for like 2-3 months, we got nothing. It wasn't until they now had to like rebrand and bundle that product with other sets of products and then go to corporations and organizations and market it to them. It was only then that those products were starting to see traffic. Before then, nothing. So I just feel like you don't want to go down that route of building all that, and then maybe you get one or two who are not really interested, right? And that's energy and effort that is not going into
Well,
the.
it's showing they are interested if they literally put in their payment. If they sincerely believe they're paying for it, that shows that they're interested. They're
Yes.
showing
Okay.
money.
No, see what I'm saying? I get you, but what if nobody, puts in their credit card details, right? What if we don't get anything for say 6 months, for example? Then, in a way, that's effort that's kind of wasted in a way, if you ask me, because we're going to have to build the application regardless, right? It's not like the outcome of that experiment is going to determine whether or not we work on the platform.
True, but I think you also have to build a business page or a sales page in order for them to be able to purchase that service, right? They have to create it. How do they create an account? How do they exchange money for services? They have to know what the payment tiers are and what features they're getting for it. And then once they purchase it, then it hits whatever backend systems. They get an email with whatever links for them and instructions for starting their account. It still has to be done regardless, right?
Hmm. Yes, but hmm. Okay. So what's your plan in that direction?
My plan is, and again, like, it's important that I get your feedback. I'm not going to agree with everything you say, but
Hmm.
obviously you have a different perspective that I probably never even considered. Is how can we generate as many leads as possible without wasting time, without requiring more time to obtain new leads? Okay,
Yeah.
so if this is like 3 or 4 months away of hitting stage 2, right? Stage 1 is beach delivery, right? Park
Yeah.
or the beach, they order it. You build out the infrastructure. The infrastructure that you're building um, connects to the client and the backend services that I've already built. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so stage 2 is they decide to swap out their dependency on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates, DoorDash, and they want to use their own employees, or they can contract the couriers that are in their area.
Mm-hmm.
But they're able to have they're able to have their own portal and view of their operations. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I'm saying all this is I think it would be advantageous if we have to build both of them regardless. I think, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if there's an opportunity for us to get 50 sales within 4 months, so 4 months divided by 50, whatever that math is it 12.5 or
Yeah.
12.3 or whatever?
Yeah.
Um, we already have those people's numbers. They've already demonstrated that they were willing to pay, right? They entered it in their card information because they thought they were going to get it. And we
Mm.
returned a friendly message, hey, it's not ready yet. Don't worry, we're not using your credit card information. We don't even have it. We never saved it, right? Then we can use those people, have someone on sales rap to them, get more information, figure out who their friends are or who their associates are, get more
Mm.
leads off of those referrals. Like have at least a runway to launch off of, versus
Mm.
going cold turkey after the product's built and then we build up a sales website for people to be able to purchase it and we have no leads. Like, I feel like they both have to be done. And it's a lot easier, I think, to get a static web page with the product on there, the pricing tiers, the features that they get per tier, and their name, information, and their payment that they demonstrated that they thought they paid for it, right? And then we could just use that, throw it to sales, whoever that sales rep is, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can go ahead with that as long as it's like you said, it's just a page that has all that, and we don't spend too much time on it. I think that's fine. I think that's
Yeah.
fine. But
It's a static page. It's a static page that needs to have some screenshots of what the portal would look like.
but how do you get what the portal will look like when the portal is not ready?
That means that we or I hire someone to hire a UX designer for some mock-ups and sell that.
Mm.
Those mock-ups can then be used for you to build whatever you're going to build, those interfaces, but we could sell those mock-ups as a product before we even have the product.
Mm.
That's the thought process. All this is brainstorming. There's nothing is in stone.
Yeah. I already have. Wouldn't the mock-ups be expensive?
Yeah. So that's something that I just need to figure out. I'm assuming there's a couple of things, right? We can go on Fiverr, and we can either go on Fiverr or we can go on 99 Designs. So there's platforms like that, and people will compete. Yeah, I think it's going to be expensive, but for some UX designs, I'm hoping all we really need. Let me start over. For some UX designs, and I'm thinking there's probably like 3 different screenshots: the orders, the couriers page, the order status page, or order status details page, whatever that looks like, and the pending orders. Like, have them do those 3 screenshots. Maybe each page costs a couple $100. I don't know. I don't know what it costs, but maybe a budget of less than $600 will give me 3 mock-ups, and this is me being completely ignorant about how much a mock-up costs.
So here's what I think we should do.
But we sell that.
Yeah, I get you. Here's what I think we should do. I think even if you get the services of a designer, right, it will still take roughly a week or 2, right? I imagine, right? Yeah. And if I'm being honest, I can actually get you an orders page. Essentially, I can actually, the speed at which you get a designer to design it, I could actually have a page that fetches real data, but maybe doesn't have all the functionalities enabled, right? So functionalities like maybe there's a button there for add courier or whatever, but that button doesn't do anything, right? Then with those 3, you can then create screenshots out of that. I think that's totally doable.
Okay.
Right? In the same amount of time, without having to commit to a third-party designer designing something that I will not have to figure out how to make work later. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that said, the 3 things there, if you ask me, are actually what your MVP are. It's actually what your MVP is, really. I just want to be able to see my orders. I want to be able to see the list of couriers. I want to see the courier details, right? And maybe the order details as well. I want to be able to see the order, see the details of that order. That's like 4 pages, right?
The other one is the catalog.
Okay, the catalog as well, right? That's like 4-5 pages. I think I can actually get that 4-5 pages done in like a week or two, and then we don't now have to pay an extra designer. And if you want screenshots, you can just take screenshots of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think to me, if I'm to sell anything, I would like to sell something that actually exists. Even if the full functionality is not there yet, it's just like how I saw on Twitter today. I saw some people discussing about Azure, how the very first version of Azure had literally nothing in it. It just had web app and database. That's it. Um, but now Azure is a beast that it is because they've been working on it every 2 weeks till date. You know, so I think that is the proper approach to building a startup. I read that in this book called Lean Startup. Have you heard about it? Lean Startup.
Yeah, it's by Eric Ries.
Yeah, yeah. So that should be the that should be how we look at it. Start with the MVP, as close to an MVP as we can, launch that, and then just make continuous improvements week by week, stone by stone. Because even if you're able to get a customer that is willing, right? It may still take them a few weeks, just the bureaucracy of the whole thing. It may still take them a few weeks before they ask, okay, we're actually ready to start using your platform, of which in that time you've made even more progress. That's how I see it anyway.
There's a couple things. One
Okay.
is whatever the MVP is, it's not going to happen in 6 weeks. It's not.
Mhm. No,
It's
you,
not.
you can't be certain about that,
I'm
right?
certain
Because
what you're writing is supposed to
Mhm.
adapt to the infrastructure that I'm building that I haven't even deployed. It hasn't even been tested, right?
Mm, mm.
It's like it's not there. Now,
But
I mean, now what we could do is they can go ahead and pay for it, and they get stupid cheap discount for something that we promise in 6 months. And based on that stupid discount, it's kind of a no-brainer that it's coming. Here's the infrastructure. Here's the infrastructure that we've written already. I'll demo it for you, right? So we're not taking your money. This is something that we've already invested 2 years in building, right? It's
mm,
coming.
mm,
We're not scam artists. We have blood,
mm,
sweat in the game, right? And we get investment, and they get a mad discount when it comes out, right? And those would be the early adopters,
mm.
whatever you want to call them. Purchase plan, whatever you want to call it. But the MVP is not going to be done in 6 weeks. The MVP, hell, I said I was going to launch this tomorrow. I said that like 3 months ago. That's not happening, right?
Mm.
And I'm talking about stage 1, right, where people can order from a beach.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I think
Okay.
I
Then
think
let's
we sell a
let's
product we
let.
don't have, but we sell them an illusion that we're currently building. We're not lying to anybody, right?
Mm,
We're not
mm,
taking their money and giving them nothing, right? And if
mm,
we just have to package it where it just makes sense.
mm. I feel you. In that case, I think we should go ahead with the mock-ups then.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, we can go ahead with the mock-ups. One thing we could also do,
Well, I
it
mean,
might,
we could,
so it might affect the work I'm doing now, but I'm pretty confident I can adapt it. So one thing we can also do is, if you go on Fiverr or whatever and engage a designer, right? Um, let's use one stone to kill two birds. Currently, that interface I'm using, that template I'm using, It's great and all, but it's how do I put it? It's generic, right? So if you are going to get the services of a designer to design a mock-up page and everything, the person might as well just do the actual design, right? Give us the HTML files, the HTML layout of the template, whatnot, with the fonts and all that. And then as a side, just give you the screenshots. The reason I say it this way is that way, if we the guy has like freedom to design it however he wants, doesn't matter. But more importantly is that, like you said, we we are giving them what we are building. So a classic example is game design, right? In game design, when they want to bring out a hot new game and they are still working on the game, what they do is that the same designer that designed the game would design an intro, would design a trailer, right? The designer doesn't know what the final game will look like, right? But he will design a trailer with the same design language, the same palettes, the same colors, the same skin, the same everything of the final game. And when people see it, they are hyped for the game, while the devs are still working on the final game. So then when the final game actually comes out, people now notice that, oh, there is a drop in quality, because obviously the designer would design things based on whatever expectations, elaborate expectations they have of the final product to be. And then the devs now realize that, yeah, this looks nice and fine, but in reality we can't really do this because of this constraint or that constraint. And then there is a whole uproar on the internet. But the point is that for the most part, the same person who designs that trailer, which is pretty much what we are doing when we say we're designing screenshots and whatnot, or designing a video showing the user interface, the person that does that will also supply the same layout and stuff for the final product. So that by the time the final product comes out, the users don't feel like they've been shortchanged. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So um, that said, we could even do it in a phased kind of way. So you may not necessarily, the guy doesn't necessarily have to do all the designs now. He may just do just the uh, screenshots and we move on. But that same designer has to do the final layout before we launch. So I can still use the layout I'm using now, no biggie, whatever, and just tell, maybe we just come up with a story, oh, this is pre-production layout or whatever the case may be. Um,
No, I'm not following the last part. You said they designed whatever 3 wireframes, and then what?
yes. And then, I continue with what I'm doing. But by the time we want to go live, by the time we want to say, oh, okay, the doors are open now, you can start ordering, it should look like what they put credit card for. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So I can continue with all I'm saying is, instead of blocking what I'm doing now, waiting for when he will be done with the layout design, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? I can just continue what I'm doing, finish up as much as I can, and then when he's done with that aspect, I can now take that and now merge the layouts together, merge the UI UX to match um, what was in the what do they call it, in the wireframe, if you will.
Yeah, or you just build in. I know this is scope creep, but treat it as a feature, and you just have a different theme.
Unfortunately, that I could try that, but it's very tricky.
Okay.
It's very tricky because if you think about how the UI interactions will work, right? So say, for example, you have like a workflow. This page takes me to this page, takes me to this page. But then in the final product, everything is on one page. Or the reverse. In the mock-up, it's like everything is on one page, but in the final product is this page to this page to this page.
Okay.
Uh, that feature toggle is going to be tricky to do. It's not impossible, but it's actually going to be a lot of work to do, because you're changing the behavior of the application itself, not just the look and feel or the UI.
Okay.
So it's what it is, though. But that said, from my end, um, I think I will focus on the MVP aspect, which is just fetching the data. That's all. If I'm able to fetch the data, of course, I will mock it as well. I'll mock those API endpoints. But if I'm able to build an admin dashboard that just fetches the data and displays it, I think that is a solid MVP. Even if the dashboard doesn't do anything in the beginning, then every week we add new capabilities. Every week we add new capabilities and move on like that. So,
Okay. So you're going to mock out the data for the catalog then?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I already have plans to do that. So I will mock out all that data. In fact, my plan originally was to mock out all the APIs, including I would create yes, I'm right. My plan was I would create a separate, should I say, mock API that talks to an empty database that doesn't do anything, right? And I will load the database with just test data and stuff like that. So when you're interacting with the portal, it's interacting with that dummy service. The service doesn't have any computation behind it. It's just IO, read and read in and read out. Being able to input output, something like that. But that would be useful. Yeah, that would be useful as I'm mocking the application out, as I'm building the UI and building the flows and all that.
Yeah, but you don't need a database at all if you're mocking, right? Everything can just be hard coded.
Yeah.
You can just have hard coded JSON that's in a file that's literally in a C# file or F# file, and you just call that the same JSON that would feed a unit test.
I get that, but the input aspect. Imagine I'm building a workflow that is determined by the user's input, right? So let's say the user enters something and then other things are supposed to happen based on what the user entered in. Then I need to be able to keep that state somehow. Now, from a unit test perspective, that doesn't matter because I could just hard code the user input, right? And I know what I'm expecting, right, as the output. But in terms of the user interacting with a system, I need to be able to keep that continuity of state. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something I intend to do tomorrow, and I intend to stream most of it. In fact, I tend to stream all of it, to be honest, because even the little I did last Sunday, I actually got quite a bit of feedback from it, which was nice. Apparently, many people don't really haven't seen where F# is used for web applications, so I think that would be cool.
So, how many? Who's building the databases? You or me?
The database.
Yeah.
For what?
For the catalog, for everything for this whole system that you're building.
Be me. That would be me.
Hold up for a second. So there was a couriers table. There's a catalog item table, or we call it catalog table, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And there's an orders table. So there's 3.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I just look at this right here?
Yeah. All right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then the financials, I think that's just derived from orders, right? I assume, you do however you want. I assume you're using a document database, or are you using SQL?
I'm using SQL.
Okay.
The challenge, I know what you're thinking, but trust me, the challenge with document databases is that when you want to do aggregates for reporting, there are a lot of pain, whereas those things are the easiest things you can do in SQL. So that's my reason for using SQL, because I'm building if I was building, say, the order checkout, or I was building the the part that you currently have as mobile, right? I would use, I would use a document database, but because I'm building the analytics aggregation aspect of it, then the best thing is to use SQL to do it.
They're not two different database systems?
What and what?
Does it have to be one database for that system? Or translated, the only thing that SQL is financials. That's where, because we're doing
No,
analytics, right? But everything else is basically CRUD. That's all it is, which is this up
no,
here. Okay.
yeah, no. So here's why I disagree. I disagree because the financials are not doesn't live in isolation, right? It interacts with all the others. So, for example, I may want to know, oh, this is my current balance. How many orders, you know, is how many orders are tied to my current balance, for example, or how much has a specific courier made? What's the financial report for a specific courier, right? I want to see the entire history of how much the person made, the debits and all of that, all the way down to current day for whatever. Or I want to see what's my highest performing item in the catalog, right? Those are things that become very tricky if you are using a document database. That's what I meant by aggregates.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah, it's all good. It's pretty late here, 10:42. I know it's like 6 p.m. for you, so it's all chill and dandy.
What's Visual Studio Rich navigation? Okay. All right. I guess we'll catch up next
Yeah,
weekend
yeah.
or 2 weekends from now.
I would say next weekend. I plan to do this thing every Sunday. Every Sunday, take 2 3 hours, just work on it every Sunday, and I just believe that once I'm able to hit, because right now I'm still in the setting up phase, right? Once I'm able to hit that stride of, okay, this is what is next, this is what's next, this was next, things will start moving a lot faster. Uh, so my plan is every Sunday I will work on this for like 3 4 hours. So I stream that as well.
All right. Well, we'll catch up. I don't know what my action item is. I'm so busy with trying to get stage one done. I'm not going to really do anything else. I'll probably pick other people's brains and maybe get a referral for someone
Mm.
to do some wireframes. But I mean,
Okay.
I'm down money right now, so like I'm
Yeah.
not really in a position to throw $1,000 at anybody right now because I'm taking the L in the stock market. But
Oh wow.
uh, I'll continue trying to get stage one off the
Mm.
ground, which is getting this payroll system working and integrated.
You know my honest opinion. My
Okay.
honest opinion is hold off on the wireframes for now.
Okay.
Just a week or 2 weeks is not going to make or break this application, right? But at the same time, I strongly believe I can get a lot done in 2 weeks. So the wireframes may not actually be necessary. That's what's coming to my mind anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been real. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too,
I'm
man.
getting tired too. All right. See ya.
All right, bye.
Yeah. And adios, whoever's observing this. I'm out. Peace.